Hi everyone, I would now like to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Abu Barkat Ullah. Dr. Abu is currently working as an associate professor in cybersecurity at the University of Canberra. His research expertise encompasses cybersecurity and safety, data and decision analytics, AI, and covers a wide range of applications. Today, Dr. Abu will be talking about the human firewall, the ginormous cybersecurity challenge. Please welcome Dr. Abu.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to my session, Human Firewall, the Ginormous Cybersecurity Challenge. I'm Dr. Abu Barkatullah from University of Canberra. I'll be talking about the human firewall challenges, what we are facing these days. Before I start, I would like to play this small video for a few seconds. I hope you can see how this traffic is moving around. We have a chaotic situation here. This is one of the craziest roundabouts in Europe. And this is happening. But the good thing is, if you see, everybody is following the traffic rules. All the drivers are following the traffic rules, mostly no major incidents happening. So if we look at our current situation in the internet or digital era, we all are connected through the internet. We need to follow the rules and regulations and the safety practices which will make our cybersecurity ecosystem secure and safe. But nothing is perfect, right? So if you see what's happening in our current world, we can see a big challenge in Australia. This is a report from Australian Cyber Security Centre threat report. We can see the government agencies are suffering the most. We have got a state territory are here. We have got education, research, health sector. They are all being the target by the cyber attackers. And what is happening here? A common trend these days we find is COVID-themed malicious attack. We see the attacks to the home. We can see the attacks in ransomware and a lot from the human error also. Recently, there was a report by Direct Mankey, and he is suggesting from February 2020, we have seen more than 80,000 newly registered domain, which contains the word corona, COVID, Wuhan, quarantine, legislation, medication. So these sites are mostly used to treat us differently. So when I'm talking about the COVID-themed malicious attack, their target, the cyber criminals' targets are running the spectrum from opportunistic fisher to a nationwide or statewide actors on many ways to exploit this COVID pandemic. We can see the result from ACSC and lot of data where coronavirus vaccine, coronavirus treatment, or safety are available. We can see the image texts are coming from as a text message from MyGov with a phishing link, or we can see this type of COVID vaccine available for people, and which is not only the regular website, it's also available in the dark side as well. So people can easily be confused by this type of malicious attack. When we had this COVID started, most of us went home. We didn't have much time to move and run from the remote places. The teachers went for teaching, workers went for working from the remote side. And some of them are aware of this situation, how to use the safety practice, but most of the people, they are not tech savvy. They started working from home within a very short notice. And they might not realize, including what is malware is, what are the cyber attacks are, what are the web-based attacks. So this created a big challenges for our remote workers and cyber attackers, all the cyber criminals. They took this opportunity. They also used a corporate, and we can see a lot of drops in the corporate web traffic. But people need to know when they're working from home what will need to be followed using the VPN, or how to control or secure their web browser and online transactions. So this gives the web attackers a big chance. Ransomware is always been very popular for the attackers. The Australian Cybersecurity Centre has produced an advisory panel to assist the corporations, also like the workplaces, to remain safe from these ransomware attackers. The attacker hid the ransomware in COVID-19 themed messages and show it to us as a ransomware as a service or remote desktop protocol, or they get access to like the RAT technology, and which is a big threat for all of us. The last one and the most important one is human errors. If you see the risk where human is contributing in 2017, that report shows we have got the human errors, a big chunk. This color, 12% for the enterprise, 12% for the small, very small 10%, overall 11% is careless or not knowing the consequences. We have got other attacks like theft, targeted attack, towards the attack, but inside a threat where it's here, 5%, 3%, 5%, 6% are also related to human errors. So as you can see, we have got so many threats like exploits, phishing, social engineering, malware, hardware theft, but human errors plays a very important role in that area. What about us in Australia? Australia, we have got a range of challenges. This challenge includes to fill up the workforce gap. At this moment, we can see there is a big need, according to the Cyber, we need 17,000 more cybersecurity workers by 2026. And this demand is growing exponentially. So how we can meet this gap? Education sector, government, industries are working together to meet this growth demand. However, this is not enough. In the other way around, we can also build up your human firewall. We can also educate the common users, which could help us to minimize the cyber risk. I'll show you in next few slides quickly. So we can have a range of solutions like Australian Cybersecurity, ACSC, we have got the Department of Defense, we have got e-safety commissioners website. They're all working to build up our capability to save the country. We have got recently the Australian cybersecurity strategy as well. So some of the solutions could be having clearly strong, defined policy and process, improve security structure and systems. I highlighted the build human firewall, use the principle of least privilege so that not to give the privilege which they don't need, just to give them least one and monitor and support the employees. So recently there was a survey and that survey shows policy is not enough. Sometimes people do not have IT knowledge and idea to follow the policy and procedure, the common stuff. In fact, one of the research shows 44% of the companies say the employees do not follow the IT practice and policies. Now, that's a big challenge. And we can have a multi-layer security policies around us, like the onion shells. But human knowledge and the firewall can make a big difference to our workplace or the work environment. Now, when I say human firewall, usually the firewall is a device or software that blocks certain types of traffic from entering to our network. I always tell the people, would you allow anyone to come to your house? The answer is no. We need to have the door, we need to check who is coming inside our house. The same thing happening for the digital environment. So what we can do is we can block our intruders by educating our human resources. So that's what we really mean by the human firewall, is the ability to train the employees well enough that help them to secure the network, much like the regular firewall, protecting the network. A team of well-trained employees will also protect our business network, our business asset, and help also to deal with their digital transactions safe and sound for the personal reasons as well. So by building a human firewall, which you need to have a lot of training, a lot of practices, it's really easy to fall to some of the recent scams. People might believe that. But if we are not vigilant, we could get stacked into the easily, since the attack becoming more and more convincing. And regardless of the COVID situation, a recent Google survey shows that 65% of the people reuse their password across multiple devices. Most recently, Microsoft announced that they are extracting 44 million accounts which were vulnerable to account takeover due to compromised or a stolen password. So if a single password is a big issue for the common employees, then if we educate them, we can build them strong enough, then they can help our workplace to secure enough. Sometimes we can see the strange behavior of the employees. They don't know about the threats, as I said in the past. For example, if someone receives a phishing email, how do they handle it? They could simply delete it, or ideally they could report it back to the appropriate department for actions to be taken. Unfortunately, this is rarely the case. Sometimes they don't know what to do after a breach has happened. And also what happens with the remote change of the workplace, people get lost as well. So educating them on the way and regularly educating them helps the environment to be safe and secure. Sometimes employees, they don't want to share what has happened wrong. Well, that brings a lot of threats. And as I showed you, insiders attack or irresponsible behavior could also lead the employer in a big risk. So we need to have this human firewall, which would benefit us in a lot of ways. If you look at the cybersecurity life cycle, here we have got the reconnaissance level. In that reconnaissance level, we can prevent most of the attacks here by having a well-trained human firewall. When our employees, they connect to the internet, regardless whether there is the workplace or from their home, they need to know how to secure the web browser, whether they're making any, are they using the VPNs? Are they using the secured socket layer for transaction or communication? Are they using the standard account when they're using their computer at home? If they're using their own computer, do they have different layers of account so that those who are the whole house members use the least privileged account and they have got the most privileged account, so that no one can install any fishy software, etc. They should have the guest account access as well for others to use. They need to think about their home network, whether they are using firewall. And with the installation of the firewall, they can prevent a lot of traffics. Most of the time, they do not use or they do not change the default router password, which has been given by the vendor. So this modem and routers need to be reconfigured. If the hacker gained the access, they might gain access to the computer and the network connected to it. They might be using this computer as a storage for the illegal data. So we need to stop this one by educating the people when you're working from home. This is the safety practices. This is the way you should save your getaway. When people are working in the social media or using the social media from their own devices, the employees can put a big threat as well. So we need to educate them what not to do while using a social media. They should not put, first of all, they need to control their audience. They need to see whom I am sharing with. Are they my real friends? Or I am sharing this information to an unknown people. So are you sharing where you are having a holiday? Well, after this COVID, we'll be going to holidays. But at this moment, we are restricted. But however, if you are traveling domestically, you shouldn't tell where you are, especially if you are a top manager person. I am in holidays enjoying the summer sun from the south coast or from Sunshine Coast. If that can be seen by an external person who is trying to reconnaissance of your workplace, they might send a phishing email to your accountant and say, hey, I am in holidays. Can you transfer my salary account to this? That provides a lot of risk for the organization. We need to be aware of what other people posting about you when you are tagged in. That means that might share our privacy as well. And being an employee of the federal government or a reputed organization, we need to be very careful about where we are tagged in. Are we sharing our geolocation? We shouldn't use the username and password which compromises our identity. Email or another thing we need to be very careful of is when you have got the security questions, please do not use the commonly used security question which may be in public. For example, which school you have studied in the past, which car you use, or where is your home address, what is your child's date of birth, or what is your own date of birth. This information may be publicly available. We use a lot of information in the social media like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So if these security informations are already publicly available, people can easily impersonate ourselves and sharing those information. When you are participating in any survey or competitions, we need to be very aware of what we are sharing. We don't want to share anything which can be giving our cybersecurity attackers a big door to attack us. People need to know what happened after the security breach, what they need to do after the security breach. If an online account is compromised, what we should do? We should stop further unauthorized access. We should change the password immediately. We need to educate them to use multi-factor authentication. Most of the organizations are enforcing the MFA or multi-factor authentication. If they discover if their credentials are stolen, then they need to identify what was stolen, what part we have given it to the attacker, so that the relevant organization or agency can take these prevention measures for further damage. If you're using phone, tablet, computer, if that's stolen, then what we need to do? Maybe it's good to have some mechanism or some software installed so that we can track the device or we can log the device from the remote. If it is financial, then we definitely need to bank and other people involved. So we need to make sure what digital activity we are doing, those safety policy and procedures we have designed, it needs to be very easy to follow and carried out. The human team, the human firewall should know what to do, and it should be an iterative process, this education journey. We need to give incentives to those people who are doing the cybersecurity exercise well. We have got the WHS training, we have got the fire drill. We need to have the drill for the cyber safety regularly. If something goes wrong, we need to seek help. We need to train them that if something can have to go wrong, but seek help and reward them. Rewarding the people, always encourage them to participate on these good cause activities. Before I finish, I'll just play this video.
We're entering an era in which our enemies can make it look like anyone is saying anything at any point in time, even if they would never say those things. So, for instance, they could have me say things like, I don't know, Killmonger was right, or Ben Carson is in the sunken place, or, how about this, simply, President Trump is a total and complete.
So, if you look at the way technology is evolving, we have got the AI evolved. This deepfake technology can mislead the audience very easily with spamming video, audio, text in a range of ways. However, if we are able to build our infrastructure as well as our human firewall, that can mitigate a lot of risk, keep the workplace safe and sound. So with this, I would like to conclude my speech. We are offering a range of units at the University of Canberra regarding the cyber safety practices. Here you can see 2 of the units I just put in there. If you'd like to know further, please contact me. My contact details are below, or find me in the LinkedIn. I'm happy to help you out. Thank you very much. You all have a good evening.
Thank you, Dr. Abu, for the interesting presentation indeed. You raised a very good point on how technology and the human firewall will keep various businesses alive, especially during these challenges time of a pandemic. For our audience, Dr. Abu's presentation will be available for the next 30 days if you'd like to view it again. Please do reach out to Dr. Abu if you have any further questions in the meantime.